So what keeps me going? I've quit several things. I know what's on the back end of fucking quitting. It's a lifetime of thinking about why the fuck did I do that?
And then there it is. Something that we call choice. You have the choice. The suffering comes and you run away, or the suffering comes, the pain comes, and you face it. We are overcoming the suffering. We are not running away from the suffering. You are overcoming it. You go through it until you have become so strong. Your body becomes so strong. Your mind has become so strong that it doesn't matter afterwards anymore.
Worst failure in life isn't the person that fell down, it's the person that never got up to try.
Fears never reaching your potential. You're always falling short, always putting your foot down, always procrastinating, always not doing the right thing, and then one day you're an old man. And you look back, God, I could have been great.
And man, I just, if I could go back to that moment and just not be afraid, just recognize that look, whatever could be out there, I could have it.
And the other thing that's so interesting about being alive is that you're all in. No matter what you do, you're all in. This is going to kill you. So I think you might as well play the most magnificent game you can while you're waiting, because do you have anything better to do?
So you got to learn to stand up to yourself inside yourself and short circuit, override that conversation that's always going on. 85% of what that conversation will tell you is negative. It's negative. It will tell you you're tired when you really are not tired. It will tell you you can't do it. It will fill you with fear. So you've got to watch that conversation. And when you find it going on, you've got to stand up to it and say, I'm going to do this anyhow. I'm afraid, but I'm afraid not to do it. And I'm not going to let you stop me.
I don't tell people that they're okay the way they are. No, I say, no, you could be way more than you are. And they're relieved about that, you see, because if you're in a dark and terrible place and someone says you're okay the way you are, then you don't know what to do about that. It's right. Like, no, I'm not. I'm having a terrible time and I'm hopeless. You're okay the way you are. Well, then what? That's it? That's where I am? And you could be way better. You could be incomparably better across multiple dimensions. And in pursuing that better, that's where you'll find the meaning in your life. And that will give you the antidote to the suffering.
Eliminate all external distractions, what's going on, and just focus on the process itself and enjoying it every single day. Chopping wood, carrying water. Greatness is not meant for a few chosen people. It's meant for those who consistently pursue their dreams every day and make that choice when they wake up.
Honestly, just lock in, man. I think the biggest thing nowadays, everybody has social media and stuff. And like, sometimes you just got to put the phone down. Sometimes you got to figure out who you are. A lot of people don't remove themselves from the crowd, or you'll never put down the weed, or you never put down the alcohol, or you got to really remove yourself from all this stuff, and maybe put down your phone for once, just think and just sit back. And sometimes it might make you cry. You might be to go into some deep depression shit, but it'll trigger that thing in your brain to think and to figure out what you really want to do.
To get to the level that you need to get to the pinnacle, it needs to be like that. It needs to be no outsiders. It needs to be, you need to have your team and your focus, and that's it. I don't need friends that aren't involved in this game, or that aren't on the same path, you know what I mean? Because it doesn't make sense.
You're never ahead, you're never behind. You're exactly where you need to be. Don't let anything rush you, because you're exactly where you need to be. And every minute that you're spending wishing you had someone else's life, you're wasting a minute of yours.
You learn things painfully. And when you learn something painfully, a part of you has to die. That's the pain. When a dream is shattered, for example, a huge part of you that constituted that dream, maybe even the biological substrate of that dream, has to be stripped away and burned. And so, life is a constant process of death and rebirth. And to participate in that fully is to allow yourself to be redeemed by it. And so the good is that process of death and rebirth, voluntarily undertaken. It's like you're not as good as you could be, so you let that part of you die.
What happened for me is I realized as my life was circling the drain, this was not the situation that I wanted. I didn't want my life to end in divorce. I didn't want to be in financial ruin. I didn't want to be depressed. I didn't want to be anxious. And here's the truly screwed up thing. I knew what to do to fix it. See, this is the trap that most of us are in.
But progress towards a worthy goal, a worthy vision in your life is the pathway to success. So why don't most people make it? Why don't most people? They go their whole life, they never really live, they react because they live in the physical world. They don't control their thoughts. I want you to remember this. Thoughts are the currency with which you purchase your dreams. Thoughts are the currency with which you purchase your dreams and your vision. If you can begin to change the way you think, literally, you can begin to change your life. But most people only operate in the physical world.
Discipline equals freedom in all aspects of your life. From a fitness perspective, you gotta have the discipline to get up early in the morning. You gotta have the discipline to work out, the discipline to eat the right foods. And if you have those kind of disciplines, they're not easy. But if you make the right choice over time, it's going to give you freedom.
We're all trying to improve ourselves. No one's perfect. Nope. I'm not perfect now. I never will be. You're not, and you never will be, but you're better than you were yesterday, and you're going to be better tomorrow.
Small step today puts you in a position to take a slightly bigger step the next day, and then that puts you in a position to take a slightly bigger step the next day. And you do that for 2 or 3 years, man, you're starting to stride.
Fall down 7 times, get up 8. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship.
Every day you fucking fight not wanting to get up. And you do anyway. You chip another piece off that fucking rock. And every day you fucking eat the right foods. And every day you go to train, you train harder and harder and harder and harder. And you get up earlier. And all these things you do to start forming yourself. You're chipping another fucking piece of that rock up. Before you know it, you have this beautiful fucking piece of artwork that you built.
Life is a journey. Never think that any frame of your life is independent from other frames. Because that's where we can really overwhelm us. So when you're in a certain situation, you suddenly feel, well, this is it. This is now a real setback. If you don't recognize that it's a journey and this moon will continue to travel, and the setback is not going to remain this way, then there's strength and confidence to move forward. But if you convince yourself that my moment, remember the emotional reaction of demoralization takes over, then besides the actual setback, the actual diminishment, you've now turned it into a liability.
But I will tell you this, it isn't one thing. And it isn't 10 things, and it isn't 100 things. It isn't a quick path, and there are no shortcuts. Meditation won't get you there, and neither will a miracle drug or an organic supplement or some superfood. Getting better isn't a hack or a trick or a one change that you need to make. Getting better is a campaign. It's a campaign. It's a daily, a weekly, it's an hourly fight. It's waking up early and going to bed late and grinding out every second in between.
Your brain spends most of its time trying to make sure you don't notice because you'll go crazy if you notice everything. But when you decide what's most important to you, your brain goes after it. If you don't know exactly what you want or you let yourself get beyond that into something general, you're not going to achieve it. Clarity is power. The more clear you are about exactly what it is you want, the more your brain knows how to get there.
The biggest challenge that you will have in life is you. There's an old African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm.
They have some idea in their head, you know, some kind of a vision of what they want to do. But they don't know where to start. They don't know where to start it. You know, they don't know where to start. And so they say, hey, where do I start? And when's the best time to start? And I have a very simple answer for that. Here and now.